What's up, YouTube? Hey, Card Dreamer here, coming to you with a set video. This is my 1975 set that I'm putting together. It is my birth year set. I was born in 75. I was born 24 days after the Super Bowl had happened. So you can figure out when I was born. Anyway, so we're going to go through these cards that I got through the trade. Remember, if you guys watched the previous video of the baseball cards that I found, there was a trade. I swapped vintage for those baseball cards that were numbered they were numbered to 40. But I'm going to tell you some interesting things that happened in 1975, which was pretty cool information. I found it very interesting. I looked it up and just kind of like to go through it. So there was some rule changes that happened in 1975. One of the 1975 rule changes that happened was that the offensive pass and interference went from 15 yards to 10 yards. Another one was that if a fourth down was incomplete and thrown through the end zone, the other team would get it at the prior line of scrimmage, which was a pretty interesting, which is I think we use today still. One of the big ones, though, that I found very awesome about 1975 was this was the first year that they mic'd up referees to be able to call plays on the field. So 1975 was the year that they put mics on the refs, and they were able to talk about the plays on the field, so we all knew, Tony Green, things that what happened. So that's awesome. We still use that stuff today. The 12-2 Steelers versus the 10-4 Cowboys was the Super Bowl that year. That year was a very low-scoring Super Bowl. It wasn't a very big Super Bowl in 1975. The Steelers beat the Cowboys 21-17 on January 26, 1976. 1976. So that wouldn't be right. So I was born before the season. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the MVP that year was Frank Tarkenton. Was the MVP that year. He was also the Offensive Player of the Year. Was also Frank Tarkenton. The Super Bowl MVP was Lynn Swann from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there's some just interesting facts and things to know when the first mic'd referees came into play, which I thought was pretty interesting to know that that's when it started in 1975. So I made a mistake. I said I was born before the Super Bowl happened. That would have been actually the Super Bowl before that. So I was born in 75. Marvin Upshaw, some really awesome cards. This is a lot of stuff I needed for my set. I did a trade for 1975, Kenny Anderson, Ray Brown, Tom Dempsey, for 75 and some 73 cards. So the next one I'll show you guys in another video will be the 1973 set, and we'll talk about the 73 season, Jim Otis. What makes me excited about this is that one of my big dreams as a collector was to complete every set from the year I was born until current 1989 when I stopped. There's an O.J. Simpson All-Pro running. O.J. Simpson, another Greg Pruitt, Terry Metcalf. So it was one of the things that I wanted to do more than anything was to complete these sets, and got them all finally separated and in binders, and now I just have to pick up the ones I don't have. So it was pretty cool. Bob Tucker, Jack Snow. As you see, some of these aren't in the greatest of shape, but my sets are living sets. They're sets that have been played with, touched, messed with. I just think that every set has a story. Like this card here, you never know if this card here at one time was in some kid's bicycle going brrrr, right? It's just if these cards could talk, it would tell such a story that we couldn't even begin to think, and whose hands they were in, and you know, the kid who owned these cards, or the dad who had him and handed him down to his kid. You know, just the story, how Leroy Jordan, you know, just been able to have a story behind it. And I think that Roman Gabriel, awesome card. So that's one of the things that I love about this, is to look at these players. You know, these guys, a lot of these guys were before, you know, I even watched football. A few of them still existed after I really was into football. Of course, when I was born, I didn't know anything about it. I probably didn't really, Kenny Houston, probably really didn't pay much attention to football. There's a nice O.J. Simpson record breakers. Ron Smith. Until I was probably about 7 or 8, I would say. And then I just started watching from there. It's why it's one of my passions. It's one of the first things I remember with my dad, of watching football and going to his house and watching the Raiders. Just remember my dad was a huge Raider fan. We all were. Dave Osborne. There's the Joe Theismann rookie card. That's an awesome card right there. Jerry Simmons, Ray Guy, awesome punter. J.D. Hill. And our last stack here, Dick Anderson, Charlie Sanders, Terry Metcalf. There's a highlights. There's a Swan. There's the Super Bowl MVP right there, Swan. Thomas, Terry Bradshaw, the good old Terry Bradshaw. Walter Johnson. Walter Johnson is twin brothers with Randy Johnson. Don't they look alike? Spitting image, right? Couldn't tell them apart. Joe Owens, Adams, Ray, Morris, Williams, Taylor, Rowe, Hill, Matthews, Jim Otto. Remember this guy? I got to meet him when I was younger. Awesome. Pat Hughes, like this one has writing on it, right? And I don't know what that says. It says something on there, which one day I'll try to figure out and see what it says. But it could say, you know, hate this guy. I have one card on there that somebody drew a devil on it. I thought it was so funny. Somebody really, Alan Page, last card's Alan Page, really cool. So, not in this set, but in another set, somebody decided that they wanted to draw a devil on the player. They really didn't like that guy. So, but there's my 1975 set. I am literally probably 65 to 70% complete with this set, so that's pretty cool. Thanks for watching. Peace. God bless. And big dreams, everyone. Big dreams.